And we are back on Build Phase TV. I'm your host, Mr. Ben, and today we are going to be watching some more Dice Throne World Cup action. So this is a series between myself and Team Bonsai. I was facing a Treant Samurai Ninja team lineup. My lineup is Artificer, Shadow Thief, Cursed Pirate, and everybody bans the Pirate. So my lineup is essentially Artificer and Shadow Thief. And in this lineup, I looked at what my opponent had, and to me, the Ninja Smoke Bombs were the most dangerous thing any of these three characters could do. I feel like the Artificer Ninja matchup, Smoke Bombs are super relevant, and I did not want to have to deal with that kind of damage cancellation, especially coming off the other series I played with a ton of damage cancellation in the form of flight tokens. So I was like, get that ninja out of here. So with that was our bans, and we're going to go ahead and jump into this game. The game had a mulligan, you know?
I know.
Had just a little bit of an audio setup issue there, but so we're going into my first turn here. I guess I'm going to hang on to my wrenches. I'll throw the 6 back. I'll hang on to that wrench. I'll present a full toolbox spanner strike at you.
Alright. I'll go for my defense if you're going to
Sure.
not do anything.
Well, I mean, I do have some more effects, but you can roll your defense now. It doesn't matter. So,
block 2.
Okay. I'm looking at my synth total there. It's instead of 1. And that's 3. It should be 4. You said you blocked 2, right? So that'll be 6.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so this is a pretty weak turn 1 play. While I do like the Spanner Strike,
phase, I'm gonna spend 2 synth.
Having no
build a
shock bot before the attack is crazy. That's just bad play.
I'm gonna sell Nanite Assault, and then I'm gonna pass turn to you.
Okay.
So that was a poorly sequenced turn on my part. I think I missed the synth upkeep trigger on turn 1 there, because you start with 3 and I only had 3, and then I didn't build the shock bot before that first attack. That's slow down and breathe. That's what that is.
Where?
So my opponent rolls a 6 on there. Vegas baby, so he's got all the CP in the world.
Small straight.
Sure.
All right. Two, 3, 4, 6.
So my assumption coming into this is that my opponent was going to try to play Control Treant. Because if he tries to go race the Artificer, I don't think the Treant can outrace the Artificer in the damage rise. That's just unlikely. So I assumed he was going to try to play slow and steady.
Okay. I got a large straight right there on my second roll. If you want to mess with it, I was going to go for that.
That's fine, but I do have a small misplay. I start the game with 3 synth.
I caught the synth
3,
thing.
but I didn't gain 1 from Scrap Collector on my turn, which is not a
go ahead.
ability. So, sorry about that. That was slop on my part. Your straight is fine.
No, you're good. Okay. So
This is not the first time I've forgotten either setup synth or turn 1 synth.
And roll 4 dice. Wow. So grow 2 spirits with the 6s, and I gain 1 wellspring. So I'll go straight to a sapling and do 8 defendable.
8 defendable.
So the 8 isn't that big of a deal. This early in the game, whatever. Like, you're going to take some hits. Artificer has bad defense.
I'm going to gain 2 synth, and then take your 8.
And I do like gaining the synth there. But him getting
The
the 2 6s on that roll and being able to grow so many spirits, that's not good.
Alright, I will remember to gain my
synth at the start of my turn. Draw a card, gain a coin. I am going to play Conductivity, so I'll roll a d6, and I will gain a synth.
Okay.
I'm going to spend 3 to go from basic to an advanced shockbot. Okay, now this is feeling a little bit better.
Wait, did you just have 4 synth or 5?
I had 5.
Oh, okay.
Because I gained a bunch off my defense is where it all came from.
Okay.
Definitely
I
would have
just,
preferred to
I
have
don't
this
know why it looked like 4 to me.
upgraded bot
but you're good.
on turn 1.
And then we'll go into roll phase.
But you don't always get everything you want.
Sure looks like a Eureka. I'm gonna keep the 4-5-5-1. Throw back the 6.
Wow, very jumpy video here.
Yikes. Throw back that. Oh man. Okay, I guess I will take schematics unless you want to say something about it.
So what's that do?
Schematics is draw 2, heal 2, gain 4 synth.
And do you have a max of 5?
This is not what I want to be doing.
7.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, so this is the part of the game where rolling schematics is like not actually that bad. Like getting the extra cards, the little bit of healing. But if I'm playing a control character, which I think that's what the train is doing. Oh, hang on.
Basic heal bot.
So we got the heal bot coming up. But if I'm playing the control character, I don't want this to go long. I don't want to spend my turn amassing resources. I want to be doing damage output. And that Eureka betraying me there that's a big moment in this. So this is a turn where I didn't put any damage on the control character that I'm trying to race. That feels bad.
Spend 1 to upgrade.
It's kind of funny to feel bad rolling 6s.
And roll. Sure, I'll keep those. Oh my gosh. I just got an ult on my second roll.
Well, let's do something about that.
Okay.
Nat ulting on his second roll. Get out of here.
3. So, last roll. Got a 1. Pay 1 to do samesies. And go for it again.
This felt terrible.
Okay.
I was so bummed out.
Wasted a wellspring. Inflict barbed vine on you. Grow 5 spirits. So
oh, you wasted a wellspring.
3
Poor guy.
straight into dryad. 4.
So
5.
well, overall, this matchup is not a damage
then
race
I'll
from the
spend the dryad to
perspective
increase
of
this by
the
3.
treant player. Spending that dryad to put the pace on me here is absolutely the correct play.
End of my turn, I'll spend a sapling and a CP to draw a card.
Anytime you can push through additional damage that your opponent can't respond to, that's almost always the right play.
It is your turn.
Okay.
Well, that was discouraging.
Synth. Gain a coin. I'll spend that coin to upgrade Spanner Strike.
Now that feels a little bit more promising. This is what we want to do. So I think the consideration here is how much CP do I want to make sure I have going into the roll phase? Like, can I afford to sell cards? come in with a little bit more CP.
I will. Gosh, that's frustrating.
That accursed 6
same
again.
Present for schematics.
That's the same thing as last turn.
Yep.
Alright. Go for it.
So I think maybe this was a frustration play here.
Draw 2 cards.
I think I was a little shell-shocked off chasing
2 life.
the Eureka last turn, and I was just like, whatever.
4 cent.
I probably should have thrown the 6 back and tried to get Eureka here. That said, sometimes you just take what the dice give you, you know? It does feel pretty horrendous, though, to have 2 turns of 0 damage on my opponent while they're ulting off on my face.
Get that out of here on your Wellspring.
Okay.
That seems anemic.
I'll spend. Oh, it's 2. Sorry, 2 cent to build a basic nanobot.
That said, I had the Barbed Vine,
And
so like just keeping what I got on turn 1, there's probably an argument for that. I'm far behind in the life total here. That felt like a tilty play to me, though.
Okay. Before your turn's over, I'll spend the sapling and a CP to draw a card. Now my turn.
That's
I'll
smart
gain
timing.
CP,
Like-
grow a sapling. Gonna sell better D.
Now that one's a little surprising to me. Well, generally I do sell Better D. That's not a card I'm that obsessed with. There are some characters in some matchups where I think it's important. Shadow Thief, for example, cares about Better D more than some other characters. And I think in this matchup, having the ability to reroll into more damage reduction, there might be an argument for that here. Now that said, upgrading his mini ult and micro ult, that gives him a lot more successful, powerful role combinations that he can take. So there is something to be said for that line. But if you're looking at it in terms of like a who's the beatdown, who's the control matchup, I think that card has more use than it would in other matchups or for other characters.
Another 6.
Just all the 6s in the world, this guy. And now, because of that upgrade that he played, it could take one fairly cheap, like a tippet, could potentially get him to a micro ult, which is not good for me.
I'll go for Vengeful Vines, small straight, put Barbed Vine, and 8 defendable.
Sure.
Or, yeah.
I'll roll my defense. I'm gonna gain a synth.
Take a cent.
I am going to activate my heal bot
Uh-huh.
and take 1 off. Then I'm gonna activate my heal bot. Take 1 off. And I'm gonna
6 total.
spend Robo Revenge and prevent 2 incoming damage and inflict a nanite on my attacker.
Okay.
So
Look at how much work I had to do to reduce that damage.
Yes.
And a barb.
Do you just want to, like, put one of your nano tokens at, like, the bottom of the screen? And then we'll both try to remember that.
Yeah, I am tracking it on your character board, but that's off screen, so that's not very helpful.
Oh, cool. I mean,
So, generally speaking, I'm not the biggest fan of nanites and that entire kind of angle. On the other hand, in this particular matchup, the Treant's defense roll is really antagonistic to what I'm trying to do. So trying to produce damage along the nanite vector seemed like it would be a little bit more valuable here than I would consider it in a lot of other matchups.
And draw a card. Gain a CP.
So one thing you got to look out for when you're playing with the Artificer is not ever really sitting on a giant pile of synth.
Going to roll face.
I mean, you always want to have it available. Like, it's really bad when Artificer doesn't have synth, but if you're sitting up at 5, 6, like your opponent's what status of it, it's just too juicy of a target. You really want to force your opponent to have to commit cards like that on small piles of synth and never give them one where they're going to feel really satisfied.
So I'm going to keep 1-1-3, throw back 5-6.
Chasing the toolbox.
Sure. I'll take the full damage from your stupid barbed vine. Alright, so I'm presenting a full Spanner Strike. And
Sounds
I'll
good.
Take my 2 damage.
That might be questionable whether or not the damage was
Clear
worth
your
it there.
barbed vine. I'm going to spend a synth to roll 3 dice instead of 1. So it's going to be 6 plus 3 for 9. And I'm going to spend a synth to Shockbot to make it a 12.
So this is plan A. That right there is the only thing that could have gone better in that attack roll for me is if one of those wrenches, because the wrenches don't do anything on the duplicate, if one of those wrenches would have been a 6, so it could have generated synth on top of everything else that I was doing. That was like almost a picture perfect attack turn for Artificer.
At the start of your turn, you do get a chance to roll to remove your nanite.
Yes.
On a result of a 6.
It is a 6.
Okay, so that'll clear your nanite.
Get out of here, man.
Alrighty. Get a CP. I'm gonna get a sapling. Okay.
So to be clear, while I did just have a really strong turn there, I'm still in big trouble. Like, this game is not going my way. Although looking at the life totals here, I think it's Team Bonsai is 33 to my, is that 27? One of these days I'm going to figure out this whole camera mirroring thing and get that fixed. So the health totals feel like they're close, but I did not feel like this was a close game at this point. I felt like I was under a lot of pressure and I was really far behind. Like, I can't, in the same way that the Treant can't outrace me, or outrace the Artificer in the DPS race, or I guess DPR in this game, the damage per roll race, the Artificer's control tools are not going to keep up in the late game for what the Treant can do.
I roll gears, and I can inflict up to 1 nanite if I roll a 6. So on a 6, I can do a nanite, and I gain synth equal to the number of gears.
So every turn where I am...
I don't know why I said that so awkwardly the first time.
Every turn where I am not putting solid damage on my opponent is very much a turn where I'm handing my opponent advantage.
Playing right now, and a CP to draw a card.
I should track how
Then
many
I'll
extra cards he
spend
draws through that ability over the course of this game. I remember it
to
being
do
like
one
4
more
or
time.
5.
Wow, same exact dice.
That's crazy.
Alright. Well, I will go for a 5 damage splinter and barbed vine.
Okay.
Now, see, Barbed Vine is maybe a deceptively important status effect in this matchup.
Okay.
Because I don't want to just roll my basic attack. I want to roll the full toolbox. Like, I want to max out on that damage. It's important for me to be able to do that. And if I'm paying 2 life in order to be able to max out my damage each time, overall, that helps the treant. And I end up sort of like punching myself in the face, or maybe like getting splinters in my own face as I try to headbutt the treant. It's tough. Like, you got to come out strong and hard with the Artificer, or pretty quickly I feel like the matchup kind of turns in favor of the treant.
I'm going to sell Zap to get up to a 4 CP. Go into roll phase. Yeah.
Sitting on a good amount of synth here.
Two, 3, 4, 6, huh?
I mean, maybe there's a straight you could try to chase there, but I think you keep the wrenches and throw the other 2 back.
My camera is getting like worse by the day.
Oh no.
I don't remember the composition of my hand. It's been a couple of weeks now since I played these games. And it's amazing how much clearer your...
Alright, I'm going to keep my wrenches,
Maybe I should...
throw the other 2 back.
Yeah, there we go. Maybe I shouldn't speak for other people, but at least for me, my play analysis is so much clearer when I'm not in the trenches, like in the moment, trying to make the decisions when I really don't want to lose.
Alright, I'll spend a synth.
Alright. No, you're good, you're good.
Okay. I'm going to spend a synth to roll 3 dice instead of 1. I'm going to gain a synth and
now that's the
3
perfect
damage,
roll.
bringing me up to 9, and then that synth that I gained, I'm going to immediately spend to my shockbot to take the 9 to a 12.
So do you only need to roll 1 wrench
One
on the
wrench
Spanish
gives
rig
plus 1
to
damage.
get 3 damage?
1 wrench gives plus 1 damage, and 1 gear gives 2 damage. So,
okay.
so multiples of wrenches will still only result in 1 damage.
Okay, okay.
Bonsai does not own Artificer.
But the last 2 times I've got a wrench and a gear.
Yep.
So, and he told me that before we started playing the game. So there's a few times in this game where
So
I
how
maybe
much
over-explain
so
stuff,
that's
and
12
and
total.
that's why, because he's not familiar with the character in
with
it.
the shockbot?
Yeah, it's 6.
No, nobody wants to win through like, oh, you didn't know, so you made a, like, not rolling for nanites. I'm sure I could have just never told him to roll for nanites, and he wouldn't. But that's lame if he does,
Take 9.
That being said, at a high level, I don't necessarily feel like it's on
So
you
you-
to always
and then you
remind your
pick the
opponent
2.
of every trigger.
Yeah, I went from 22
Okay.
to 20. I did that first because I didn't want to forget. And I have no second main.
Like, always-
action, so I passed to you.
Always be ethical, always be kind. But there is like a line where it's like, okay, this is competition too,
24.
26.
Okay. Much like your camera, my eyesight gets worse day after day, so I don't know what's to blame.
That is true.
I think it's my camera.
So at this
Okay,
point,
let's-
I did feel like I was
yeah.
maybe starting to pull out of the
Wanna sell
nosedive.
Overgrowth?
Had a very, very weak opening turn, and then had turns 2 and 3, I think, was the 2 schematics in a row. So I
And
had
roll.
2 turns where I basically did nothing. But subsequent to that, turns 4 and 5 were 12 damage each. Now, that didn't necessarily all get through, but that's pretty good. That's a lot of damage. That's basically half your life total across 2 turns. Now, if I would have started putting that out on turn 2, and I would have had 4 turns in a row where I was putting out 12 damage, look at how much different this game would be. This is what I mean when I say the longer the
4-1.
game goes on, the more it favors the treant, the more danger I'm in of him just being able to heal his way out of my range and hit me with another ult. Because he drew so many cards that he...
That's it.
Okay.
So there's 3 ults total presented at this point. I've manipulated
Alright.
2 of them. 1 he got back.
Let's see here.
Gonna tip it back, dude. If he plays tip it again, I can't remember.
I will attempt Nature's Grasp.
Okay.
Grow 2 spirits.
I can feel my adrenaline going again. Am I get ulted twice in the same game? So Nature's Grasp is still a pretty dangerous attack to have coming my way.
Do 2 seedlings. So I got 3 of them. So it makes it 6, 7, 8, 9. Undefendable.
Okay. I'll activate Healbot. I'll go ahead and just spend 2 because I'm going to do it twice.
I shouldn't have done this, knowing that this guy's...
I'll take 6. Unless you have further effects.
Knowing this guy's a new player to the Artificer, doing 2 activations at the same time is just...
6 or more, right?
It's 6 or more.
That's super sloppy.
By 1 for a wrench and by 2 for a gear or a lightning bolt.
Okay.
Like, I'm not trying to be like condescending or whatever, but I also
good.
Want to assume you
like
know stuff,
is it so if you get like 2 wrenches, is that still just 1?
Well, so no, because technically it happens 1 at a time. So I threw 2 dice to there, but technically the way it works is I spend 1, I throw 1 dice, and I either reduce it by 1 or 2.
And that misunderstanding right there is why you should never skip steps when you're playing with somebody who isn't familiar with a hero. Like, yes, Healbot activates 2 individual times, not pay 2 and throw 2 dice, and that created a point of confusion, which I now have to clear up. And I knew this guy was not familiar with the character, so that was sloppy on my part.
3 off of your 9, so I'm taking 6.
Oh, yep.
Which will leave me at 14.
Alright. That is my turn.
Alright. Gain a coin. Gain a synth. Draw a card.
I like saying all that stuff out loud when we play online.
Spend CP to play double up. Draw 2 cards.
Although now I'm in the habit of doing it so much because I play online, I do it in person too. They're like, dude, I know you're drawing a card. I can see it.
Gonna go into roll phase.
I mean, it feels good to have a big hand of cards like that, but playing Artificer, I don't want a big hand of cards. I just want wrenches.
I'm gonna
Finally.
3 wrenches. I'm gonna keep a 4th wrench. And I'm gonna present a partial toolbox this time. Do you want to do
Okay. What do I have?
Now this one is a little bit fragile.
I will take it.
Alright, so we're starting with a base damage of 5 this time instead of the 6. I'm going to spend a synth to be able to roll 3 dice instead of 1. That time I'm going to gain 2 synth but only add 1 extra damage, which will get me up to 6. I'm only going to put 1 on my board because I'm immediately going to spend the second one to add 3 more to it to make it a total of 9 incoming.
So this is a much weaker attack, but still,
Defense.
it's hard to feel bad about 9 damage incoming.
Grow a spirit and block 1.
Okay.
So 8.
That would be 8, yeah.
$18.
Then second main phase, I'm gonna sell, try again, and 1 more time. Plus, I'm gonna spend a CP for a total of 3 to upgrade my ratchet up defense. And then
Oh, the cameras just got really bad.
Okay. I'll spend the sapling on your turn to gain a CP and health. Yep. Alright. I'll grow another sapling.
Oh no, and this is the source video that's... looks this way. I hope it comes back. I don't remember having this problem live in the call.
Okay.
Pause that for a second.
Actually. Yeah, sure.
Okay, there we go.
I'll spend 2, or sorry, 1, because I got the Splinter 3 upgrade, so it's just 1. Well, you can't even see it, it's blurry, but the difference in cost is 1.
Gotcha.
And I forget, do you discard the older upgrade, or do you just keep it underneath?
I think it goes into the discard.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
I still think it goes in the discard, but
It's
I
only
haven't
relevant
actually looked it up to
subtly,
confirm.
that seems unlikely given this matchup.
Yeah.
Maybe if we were playing my other character against your Treant, that might happen.
Alright.
Alright, so at this point, I just kind of have to hope my opponent doesn't roll super well. Like, I'm not sitting on a ton of CP, I'm not sitting on a ton of synth. I do have my upgraded bots, which means the synth that I do have will go a long way, like I'll get a lot of mileage out of it. But make no mistake, I am on the ropes here.
What's your defense do again now?
The upgrade, if I hit 2 wrenches, I can deal 1 damage, and that's on, so it doesn't multiply.
Right.
I'm allowed to roll 5 dice now instead of 4, and I gain synth 1 per gear, and I inflict nanites 1 per lightning bolt.
Okay.
I do think the upgrade defense on the Artificer is one of the best cards in his kit.
Alrighty. Same exact thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. I will attempt small straight
Sure.
for 8 damage. Barbine.
Okay.
Upgrades his Splinter only to
I will roll my defense.
opt for the straight. That's kind of how that works, though.
So I'm going to inflict 2 nanites, which is a max stack now, and I roll...
Did I not roll this turn for that?
I don't remember him rolling.
I don't remember, which means you probably didn't, because if you said it out loud, I would probably remember. So I guess go ahead and roll for
I
one
forget.
nanite that you already had.
Okay.
Another 6.
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Just a 1.
So then I'll do 1 damage because of the double wrenches. Then I'm gonna... That's 8 damage, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna just take it.
Okay.
So I almost spent for the heal bot there, but I realize if I spend on the heal
okay,
bot,
I'm gonna spend
I
this.
won't have the ability to activate the nanobot and deal the 5 damage using my nanites,
Oh crap!
which I really want to do.
Did I do that right? What was I at before? I'm at 19 right now with the plus health, but that doesn't sound right.
Let's rewind here just a
Let's
second.
go ahead and max stack now.
Cool.
I don't remember, which means you probably didn't, because if you said it out loud, I would probably remember. So I guess go ahead and roll for
I
one
forget.
nanite that you already had.
Okay.
Man, I can't
Nope.
read that at all.
Just a 1.
So then I'll do 1 damage because of the double wrenches. Then I'm gonna... That's 8.
Did I? Oh crap!
I
Did
can't
do
tell.
that right? What was I at before?
It's too blurry.
I'm at 19 right now with the plus health, but that doesn't sound right.
So I remember this misunderstanding here where I had something similar happen to me with my CP dial in the last series where I went to dial it and I was pretty sure I did the wrong thing. And that's what my opponent's doing here, is having a moment of going,
I
I think I messed up my health dial.
the heck? That just doesn't sound right. Like I feel like I should be lower.
18 going
Maybe.
into this turn is what my memory is, but I didn't make a
Okay.
specific check.
So
on it
I'll
either.
just stay at 18 then. 'Cause
if you
went
feel
down and
okay
up.
with that, I'm okay. I mean,
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah,
this
we'll
would be the
just go
time
with
if
that.
we were an in-person event, we call a judge.
That's so weird. Seriously can't remember what I was at. I just feel like I shouldn't be that high, but whatever. Yeah, so that's
Especially with how
my turn.
low the health totals are getting. Like the
Start
one
of my turn.
the 1 point
Gain a synth.
could definitely end up making the difference here.
I'm gonna gain a CP. During my upkeep, I'm gonna activate my basic nanobot with 2 synth, and I'm gonna blow up the nanites on you for 5 damage.
Okay.
That's the sound of nanites exploding. In my head, it sounds like the depth charges that Boba Fett used against Obi-Wan in Episode 2.
I'm gonna spend 2 CP to transfer the barbed vine back to you,
Haha.
and then I'm gonna go into roll phase.
I remember that play. That play felt good. It's like the only thing to use transference on in this matchup.
I'm gonna keep my wrenches, throw back the 5, throw back the.
I think I have a small straight there. Yeah, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm gonna keep the 4. Right?
I don't think you keep the 4 here, dude.
No, I'm gonna throw the 4 back.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'll keep it in the tray.
Okay.
Full Spanish.
Yeah,
the.
So the argument there, chasing the straight would have been like more raw damage, but it's way more susceptible to my opponent having something in his giant fistful of cards that could chip out one of those middle numbers and cause me to whiff. So ultimately, going for the Spanish strike is a much more durable attack.
Or I can spend a synth to roll 3 instead.
And it has a pretty
If
high
I
damage
get at
production
least
ceiling too.
1 wrench and 1 gear, that will add 3 damage to it. And then I can spend a synth to the shock bot to add 3 more damage to it.
But you wouldn't have a synth to afford that, right?
Unless
Or can you get synth from...
if I roll a 6 on the Spanner Strike roll, I gain synth.
Okay.
Which is
And then yeah,
literally the line of play I'm going to chase
Cool.
here. You
Um,
know that feeling you get when you've got a kind of shaky line of play picked out and your opponent starts asking a
is there
bunch of
any,
questions
like,
before you even
three-of-a-kind
declare
bonus
it?
on that?
No.
Like, uh-oh. I think he has some
If you push me
interaction
off
that's going to
one of
make
my
this bad.
wrenches, it goes down to 5. If you push me off 2, it goes down to 4.
Okay. Jeez.
Is it 11 to 4
It's
right
gonna
now,
hurt.
health-wise?
I guess. Oh wait, so there's that. All right, I will take that.
Okay, if that's going to resolve, we
Yep.
got our 6 base damage. I'm going to spend a synth to roll 3 dice instead of 1.
So what's that doing again?
So I'm going to keep the wrench in the gear for an additional 3 damage, and then I'm going to spend 1 CP on 6-it to turn this into a 6 to gain a synth.
Okay, now I'm gonna spend 1. And can I helping hand that 6?
Sure.
Saw that coming.
So that's 9 damage.
Okay. All right. Defense. Block 2. Take 7.
Not enough.
Tied up.
Are you at 6 now? Okay. Oh, yeah. Time.
Yes.
Oh, 6 to 6. There we go.
Second main phase, I have no actions. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't have any
So
nanites,
here we're sitting
so-
at 6 to 6. If turn 2 or turn 3 would have resulted in any kind of an attack, literally any attack on the Artificer's board that got through, this game would have been over. But those 2 turns of doing nothing, now we see where I'm being punished for that.
Okay. A roll.
So if he gets any kind of an attack
Three,
here, I'm
four,
done.
4.
Like, that's just all there is to this.
4.
At 6 health, I have really no defense. I guess the heal bot can mitigate up to 4 incoming damage. But I'm in pretty bad shape here. Now on the upside, my opponent also has to realize that if I get another attack, he's probably done. Which
Okay.
means he's going to have to push through
Taking
barbed
one
vine
from
and just
barbed
take that
vine.
damage. Yeah, he might end up down to 4 this turn. But if he doesn't and doesn't produce enough damage, he's
Go
dead
down to
next turn.
5.
Almost for sure.
Okay, so I got a small straight so far. My third roll. I'll be going down to 4.
Now there's a risk there, but I think it's a risk you have
Gonna
to take
spend
in this
1
position.
and the sapling to draw a card. Okay, this is interesting.
So the magic number here has got to
you
be
have,
10.
Like 1 card in 0 CP?
I have 2 cards and 0 CP.
Okay.
As long as you can produce an attack for 10
Alrighty.
damage, even if I reduce it by 4, he
Scary.
still gets to 6.
I'm gonna play Getting Paid. Go up to 3, spending 2, so the 2 that I just got, for So Wild. And I'll make this a 5 and attempt my large straight.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, it's over. You still go through the
It is
motions,
8
though.
plus 3 is 11, and I grow a spirit.
So there was a chance he didn't roll +3 there. There was a chance he only rolled +1, in which case a perfect roll on Healbot, and I would have been okay. But he didn't. He rolled +3.
So I would do 1 damage back to you, and I would gain 2 sen.
So I get him down to 3.
I'll spend 1 on my heal bot and take 1 off.
Not good
Spend
enough.
1 and take 1
Yeah,
off.
it doesn't matter. Even if I rolled double
11
wrenches
minus
there, it
2
wouldn't
is
matter.
Still bigger than 6, so you got me, man.
All right.
Oof.
So that
Dang,
brings
dude,
game
so,
1 in this
I mean, I would've
series
taken-
to an end. I think a lot of the way this matchup turned out comes down to those decisions in those early turns to not be more aggressive. I really made a mistake being afraid of Barbed Vine on, I think it was turn 3, where I was coming off getting hit with the ultimate, and I didn't want to take damage from the Barbed Vine, so I just took a turn 1 or a roll 1 schematics. That was a massive misplay. Had I produced 4 damage worth, or I guess 3, I got him down to 3 there by the end of it. Had I produced even 3 damage on that turn, even a 3 wrench spanner strike that got through, would have been enough for the game to be ended and take it away. But I got, I mean, you get tilted. Sometimes you get really frustrated with what's happening, and in the moment I was like, I'm going to take this first roll and not take. So in an effort to avoid taking 1 or 2 damage, I ended up not producing the 1 or 2 3 damage that would have flipped the game result the other way. So live and learn. Good games to my opponent, and we'll see you in game 2. We're back on Billface TV for game 2 of my series against Bonsai in the Dice Throne World Cup. At this point, I am drawing up my 4. Move that mic a little closer, and we're getting started.
Wait to do.
So again, I banned Bonsai's Ninja,
Alright, I'm gonna
and that was
spend 2 synth
largely on the back of
Basic
Smoke
shock
Bomb.
bot.
Okay, building a shock bot before my turn 1 attack. That's how you play Artificer. Not that nonsense I did in game 1. That feels pretty good.
4, so I'll gain 2 synth.
That feels really good.
Okay.
Holy smokes.
And I'm going to spend 3 of it to make my basic shock bot advance.
So this is just about the best turn 1 you can have.
Go into roll phase.
Like, the only thing that could be better is, like, upgrading Spanner Strike. Two, 3, 5, 5. Man, do you chase Eureka here? Don't do it, dude. Spanner Strike. Spanner Strike, no!
I'm going to keep 2, 3, 5, 5. Throw this back.
It's funny, this has already happened. And so I don't think that was a great play.
Alright, so that's going to be gaining 3 synth. I'm only going to put 2 on my board because I'm immediately going to spend 1 to turn that 7 into a 10 using the shock bot.
I will say, throwing 1 roll at a Eureka and seeing what happened could be okay, and then chasing Spanner Strike after that, that would have been totally viable. I don't like the idea of chasing a Eureka super hard. Whiffing is
I'm
really
gonna
bad.
Play better D actually.
Especially against Samurai. This guy does a little bit of damage every time you
Okay,
attack him.
so blocking 3 and dealing 1 back.
Okay.
Good damage every time he attacks. The Samurai is one of those
7.
characters that really punishes you if you have bad
Yes.
turns.
There's 10 coming at you. I'm going to spend 2 and upgrade Scrap Collector. And then
That's a strong turn
sell,
1.
try again. And pass turn to you.
What does that do now?
During my upkeep, instead of gaining a synth, I roll a d6, and if it's a wrench, I gain a synth, and if it's gear or a lightning bolt, I get 2 synth.
So there are games where upgrading Scrap Collector is completely dead. You pay 2 CP for absolutely no effect the entire game. I've played those games. It's brutal. It really sucks when that happens. But you kind of still have to do it every time because the chance that it could increase your synth production by double, instead of 1, you get 2 every turn if you get the perfect roll. It's worth the 2 CP gamble, even though sometimes you spend 2 CP and maybe you get 1 synth across the entire game off of it. The later in the game it gets, it can be debatable whether you actually pay for that or not. Like if you're in a game where you're really tight on CP and it's like
1, 1, 2,
turn
3,
6,
3.
probably you don't upgrade Scrap Collector then.
I'll go for Katana Slice
Although
for 7 defendable.
I've probably done that.
Coming at me. Alright, I'll defend. So I know if it bounces out, I'll re-roll it. How do you want me to deal with a hang? I normally just shake the tray till it falls. But
Sure, you can do that.
okay. So I inflict 1 nanite because the 6s don't double and the gears do nothing.
Okay.
Those aren't
And
gears, those are
roll
wrenches.
the
But the
second
wrenches
strike.
do nothing.
Yeah, I'm gonna spend 1 now and add Gishi to it. So
Coming in
roll
strong.
1 and do something.
I think that's
So
really
2
smart.
more damage. 9 total.
I'll take 9.
I mean, there is an argument that's like, hey, don't spend the card until like you're going for the kill or whatever. Like that, until you spend it, that could be twice as wild. And you know, there's like a head game in presenting to your opponent that you have more options than you want. But right there, he's got a good attack locked in. My defense is not great. Like if the samurai is in the position to turn this into a damage race, I don't think that should be plan A for the samurai. But if he ends up in the position where he can turn it into a damage race, all the better for him. His defense deals damage back to me. Mine won't until it gets upgraded, if it ever gets upgraded.
Make a basic heal bot. Then I'm gonna go into
Okay.
roll phase.
Probably should have just gone into roll phase.
I
And
think
we're-
I forgot to roll for nanite again. Oh well. Or no, that was from your defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's a small straight right there, right? 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'll
Maybe
present
throw
for a small straight.
one roll back at it.
And, which roll again?
I'm on my first roll.
Okay. That's fine too.
Go ahead.
Like, your opponent's not going to want to
So I'm
use
gonna
dice
gain a
manip.
synth and inflict a nanite. The synth that I gain, I'm going to spend plus 3, so there's 10 incoming damage.
Straights are particularly susceptible to dice fix cards, so being able to present a
That's
straight off
roll.
your first roll, even if it's not like the best,
Same thing. Block 3, deal 1 back.
that's why I do that.
Taking 7.
And second main phase, I have no actions. Go ahead.
I have to say there is probably an
Okay.
argument there for throwing the 6
Gain
back
a
and hoping
CP.
for the 50-50 wrench, and then you've got a Eureka, which would be pretty good.
Oh, nanites.
You'd put all 3 of that synth into upgrading the heal bot.
Staying on.
Still. So as far as status
Okay.
effects, this is kind of an interesting matchup. It never feels super great to spend like a bye on shame or on honor. Probably backstrike is the juiciest target, but like the samurai doesn't always get backstrike. So there's a lot of cards in your deck that in other matchups are really crucial and really important. Like a bye against Shadow Thief is like the best card in the game. But here those cards are much lower valued against the samurai in particular because of how just the economy of his status effects. And if you're trying to save it for the backstrike and he just doesn't ever get it, okay, well now you're essentially, it's like you opted to play your game down 1 card in hand. Like if you're holding a bye the whole time to hit a backstrike and you never get that opportunity, you're down a card. It's an awkward place to be in to know how to. Oh, geez.
Sure.
So while I was ranting and raving about status effects,
Okay.
Team Bonsai over here presented an ultimate at my face
Gain an
parts.
honor. Inflict 2 shame.
I'm so mad about all these ultimates.
And then I'll spend both honor to make the 13 into 16 total.
Good use of honor.
Um,
So we played these games back to back, and at this point, I'm so frustrated with the
I'm gonna
ultimates.
sell bye-bye.
Like I was really just like, come on, man.
And end my turn.
So there you go. Bye-bye. Do you use it on a nanite? What else really is there for him to stress out about in this matchup? Artificer is another one of those characters that kind of does weird things with the status effect economy. The cards, the economy of the cards that interact with status effects. They have a change in the valuation.
Roll phase.
Keep the wrenches, bro.
Cards in hands.
2.
So the consideration here is, do I want to try to go after a straight? But I'm looking at his CP and I'm looking at his cards in hand, and a straight is vulnerable to dice fix cards. There aren't that many in the game.
2. Throw back the 1. I'll present for Jolt, small straight.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think
Alright, so I'll gain.
this was a fishing expedition.
I'll spend it.
I think what I was trying to do there is see if he had a helping hand
To 8.
or a tippet that I could force out of his hand there.
Get a nanite.
Okay. Defense roll. Block 2, deal 2 back. I'm taking 6.
Dude, block 2, deal 2 back doesn't seem like that big of a number, but when you take those
Spend
numbers
2 to build
times
a basic
7
hand
turns of a
block.
game, they start to get pretty big.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So at this point, again, I'm not the biggest fan of nanites, but the game, the dice handed me a 3 stack of nanites on my opponent. I felt like just compelled to build the nanobot and try to chase after the ability to like get some value out of those status effects, especially with how much damage he was dealing back to me on my attacks. I was feeling that.
Roll.
Looks like a lot of katanas to me.
How many cards do you have?
3.
Okay.
So I may be put in the uncomfortable position here of having to choose to just not use my heal bot if I want to be able to get these nanites to go off, depending upon what happens with my defense roll. That's the sort of thing, if you're playing against the Artificer in this position, you want to be looking at that sort of moment, like, okay, undefendable damage is maybe worth a little more now
for 7 damage
than it would be otherwise.
I'll roll for defense.
So what I'm hoping for here is some synth generation,
I will gain 3 synth.
which is perfect. Now I have the ability to pay for my heal bot, and I can still blow up my nanites. This is bad news for
And I'll take your 7
the
damage.
samurai.
Alright.
Taking 7 damage never feels great, though.
Honor.
Oh, I don't think he rolled for nanites.
And I totally forgot about nanites again. Jeez.
Yeah, I remember being like, oh, dude, I set
Well,
up my
like
whole
right
turn.
now.
Better roll.
I feel like... is that fair?
I mean, I guess go ahead and roll for him.
Yeah, I don't think it's a May trigger,
Probably not even
so...
gonna be 6s.
Says the guy
Yeah.
that pulled off 3 ultimates.
Yeah, I know.
So, even if... Like, it's not a May trigger. So even if your opponent misses, like, I kind of feel like if they go, oh, hey, I need to... I don't feel like it should be your job to remind your opponent of doing things to remove their status effects from them. But, hey, this is the game state. Both players are responsible for maintaining the game state. So if your opponent goes, oh, shoot, it's my turn. I was supposed to roll for this during the upkeep. Now it's whatever phase we're in. I think he's attacking me now. He's done attacking me. And here, I'm spending for the nanobot to actually blow those 3 nanites up. So this was really relevant. Yeah, a little bit late, but nonetheless, you got to play the game the right way, you know? I don't like you miss... Now, if it's an optional trigger and you miss it, that's different.
That first one was probably the luckiest one I've ever gotten.
Yeah, it's eerie because whatever noise suppression... I'm going to spend 2 to upgrade Eureka. Whatever noise suppression you have...
So at this point, upgrading Eureka is maybe also a questionable call. Like, we're a few turns into the game. I'm actually at the position now where I have my stuff upgraded and I want to transition into chasing Spanner Strikes because, well, there you go. There's a Eureka. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I just upgraded Eureka. I got to play the Eureka.
Go ahead.
Alright. 2, 3, 4, 5. So
But I think there was an argument that could have been made there
max stack.
that I should have sold that for CP.
And I'll spend a synth to my advanced shock bot to add 3 to that. So that's
11.
11 coming at you.
Okay. Block 2, deal 2 back.
Block 2, deal 2.
Take a 9.
No, I feel like the play here
7
has to be
phase,
upgrade the
I'm gonna
nanobot,
spend
right?
3 to upgrade my
Yeah.
heal bot.
Can't sit on a stack of synth like that. You pass turn like that and somebody what status affects
Alright.
you, that's your fault on the Artificer.
Okay.
Now, I feel like the Samurai's in the position where you kind of just have to take what the dice give you, because you really want to be able to generate that honor by not chasing multiple rerolls, because that's how you pump your damage a little bit, and you'll be able to hang the damage race with the Artificer just that much better. I mean, to be clear, I can only speculate about the mindset of my opponent. I'm trying to actually talk about what I was thinking on the Artificer side, but anything I say about the Samurai, I don't know what my opponent was thinking in that moment, just to be clear. I think if you're in the Samurai position, you really want that backstrike too, because you want to draw bye-bye out of my hand as quickly as you can. There is a world where status removal could become impactful with regard to your ability to generate additional damage with honor.
Okay.
I mean, again, it doesn't feel that
6
good.
damage katana slice.
But on some level, you know what the juicy target is. It's backstrike. The sooner you play it, the sooner you test my hand to see if I have that bye-bye.
Roll my defense. I will gain 1 synth and inflict 1 nanite. And then I'll pay a synth to activate Healbot. And heal for 2. And then I'll pay a synth and activate Healbot. And heal for 2. So I'll take your 6 down to 2. Unless you have further effects.
That's an example of Healbot working very well. And this is what you want to be in the position to do with the Artificer, because his defense roll kind of sucks. Like, all it does is really inject more synth into the synth economy, and you want to be able to turn that synth into 2 Healbot activations every turn, 1 Shockbot activation every turn, the occasional Nanobot activation, but those are the really big things, is upgrading Spanner Strike, activating your Healbot and your Shockbot every single turn. Again, from my strategy and how I play Artificer, I am aware there is the Schematics Nanobot heavy strategy, but I haven't had success with it. I hate how often I see 6. Like, get those 6s out of here. I don't even want you.
Keep the wrenches. Throw the rest back. I'm going to keep the wrenches. 6 back.
There are characters where 6s are more welcome, or I'll chase 6s. I certainly step into the shadows often enough that I acknowledge the value of 6s in this game. With Artificer, though, this is not a character I ever chase my ultimate with. I'd generally rather use my hardcore dice fix cards like So Wild or Twice as Wild to blow up my opponent's turn than chase an ult with this character, to be specific.
2, deal 1 back.
Slightly less strong roll from the Samurai there. Only a health spread of 3 instead of 4, oh my. But since I've started paying attention, that's 11. That's like a whole extra turn worth of health spread. Yes, it's split between damage reduction and
pass turn.
So that play right there, there's an argument for waiting until there's a backstrike, but this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. If you always wait for the backstrike and it never comes, at some point that card is just dead in your hand and you're playing the game handicapped. 2 honor is worth potential 3 extra damage, so I'm paying 2 CP to prevent 3 damage. That's a fair exchange rate. That's Artificer has a card that just straight up says.
I don't remind people for that, because it's like I sort of assume a certain level, but when you explicitly say, yeah, I don't own the hero, then I feel like, oh, well, okay,
yeah, then I know it's...
Had a little bit of a tech hiccup there. I think we're good now.
Man. Down to the wire again.
Yeah, this is another very tight game.
Okay.
Honestly, a little tighter than I feel like it should be. I think in this matchup, Artificer has the edge. He can just run so much faster than the samurai. Obviously not every time. Like, no matchup is 100% one way or the other.
Wow,
And that's
once you
just
have the
7. I guess I gotta go for that. 7 damage.
Okay.
Katana slice.
I will roll for my defense. I'm gonna inflict a nanite. Well, hold up. I'm gonna play better D.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep the 6, but I'm gonna throw everything else back.
Yeah, and that's the right sequencing. Like, I shouldn't start doing the nanite from the 6 if I'm going to
So I'm
manipulate the
gonna
rest of
gain
the
2
roll.
synth, 2 synth, and inflict a nanite unless you mess with my dice here.
That's fine.
Okay.
Like, with experienced players who know the characters in and out, you can kind of shortcut and be a little bit more loosey-goosey. But this is the Dice Throne World Cup, and my opponent isn't super familiar with Artificer, so playing the game clean is really important.
7 to a 4, and then I'm gonna play Arcane Shield.
Oh, there it is.
Spend 1 synth to take
Oh.
this from 2 up to 3.
I was just talking about that guard.
2 to 3.
Yeah, if I spend a synth, it does.
Okay.
So it's free
Gotcha.
and prevents 2, but if I spend a synth, it prevents 3.
Okay. Alright.
So that's a big
I will
turn.
pay 1 at the end just to get a backstrike.
Completely stuffed that attack. And I think he can feel comfortable
And that
playing
is my
that
turn.
backstrike there. Like, yeah, I haven't exposed all of the potential cards I could have, but the number of cards in my hand is somewhat limited, and I already committed my what status effects to his 2 honor last turn. So he's got to feel like, okay, how much status removal does this guy have? I'm probably in a safe spot to do this, and the health total is really tight. So that's maybe not like the ideal play, but I think it's the right play based on the moment.
Transference, and I'm gonna
Jeez.
steal.
Unfortunately, I punish him for it.
Man, do I go for extra damage here? I'm at 9, so you probably. Well, you can only roll 3 dice, so you definitely can't kill me. The backstrike could get it up to 3, so if you max out, that's only 6 returning damage.
I'm literally thinking out loud right now.
Yeah, I gotta steal the backstrike.
So that was literally the thought process of what I was doing to determine which status effect I was going to yoink there. Like, do I want to try to max out damage, or do I want to try to take that backstrike, which could potentially hurt me back? Not like horribly, but badly enough that it could throw the game. I don't necessarily recommend talking out your entire strategy to your opponent out loud, but it is a thing that I do.
I'm gonna keep 3 gears and a wrench and throw this 4 back.
Got to be chasing
Throw that
another
same 4
wrench
back
here.
again, and I'm gonna present for
There it is.
Rico with no rerolls remaining.
That feels precarious.
Alright.
That's gonna go through.
Pretty much dead here, right?
I'll gain 3 synth, and then I'll spend 1 to make it 11 incoming damage. And I
Okay.
don't think you can kill me.
I mean, depending on what his hand. Not this time.
Yeah, I only blocked. Or did you say 11?
It's 11, yeah.
Dang, and I can't. Even with that.
I think this
Shoot.
is it.
Yep. I can only prevent 3.
Take it down to 8, which is still. Does that deal 1 damage back to me?
Yes.
Okay, so that leaves me at 8 remaining health. Wow.
Good game.
Dude.
Okay, so that finishes up game 2. At that point, we tied the series, and this was another like nail biter. So I guess we'll see you again in game 3. Let me think back as far as the nanites performed well there. For how often I talk about how I don't like nanites, I think it's only fair to call it out. That extra 5 damage really made a big difference in that matchup. The backstrike did eventually show up, but had I like waited and not what status effect the previous turn and give him an attack where he was able to generate 3 more damage, still wouldn't necessarily have been enough to kill me. But that plus the backstrike could have gotten awfully close. So again, I kind of flagged those, and I think that was more or less the big moments that I wanted to make sure to remember in that game. So we'll see you in Game 3. And we're back on Build Phase TV. This is going to be Game 3 in the Dice Throne World Cup matchup between myself and Team Bonsai. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit record at the start of this game. As you can see on the screen there, I already have Cardicopia in play. I, on my turn 1, played Cardicopia, rolled for it, drew some cards, didn't do any damage to the opponent, and where this video is going to pick up is just as my opponent is starting
Oh shoot!
their turn
Want me
2.
to wait?
Oh, and he's been inflicted with a poison. That's a poison counter there. Oh, that's gotta feel good. You pay for the upgrade and then immediately get the ability. Now, it's never good to pass your turn on 0 CP, but Cardicopia turn 1, draw some cards with Shadow Thief. Feels very strong.
Nah, I'm not gonna do that. Okay. So 4 undefendable.
Yes. I will take
'Kay.
4 undefendable.
Gain backstrike. And
Your
then
turn, right? Because that was first roll, wasn't it?
yes, yes. Yeah. I'll end my turn. Get an honor.
What's the other honor from?
Oh, this is poison.
Oh, that's poison. Okay. I was like, wait, something's wrong here.
I guess it
Alright.
kind of does look like that in the glare.
Well, my poison counters look so remarkably
Looking at this board
Yeah.
state, I don't think it's possible that I rolled the Cardicopia on turn 1. I think I probably did a dagger strike and inflicted a poison, because I also took some
Fair.
damage.
I'm going to...
So he probably got me. Oh, nice.
I'm going to sell card trick.
Dude, it's weird because I played these games, but it's been a few weeks now. So,
And then go into roll phase.
Okay.
so card trick's a tough one. Oh. See, and that's the kind of roll that makes you go, oh, I should have held on to card trick.
I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna present Shadow Dance.
So, unlike most characters, chasing an
Go ahead.
ultimate early game for Shadow Thief is just bad. You have to build up the CP first, or it's just no good.
Okay. I'm gonna spend 2 to buy your backstrike.
Okay. Can I? Yeah, I guess it's your turn. So
Yeah, I mean,
Wouldn't work.
you can attempt to use it, but priority since it's my turn.
yeah.
I paused this because I was going to explain. Yeah, so what was happening there is he wants to try to use the backstrike. I'm buying it, and because it's my turn, I get priority.
That climactic there at the end, and that's pure damage, so I can't use my backstrike now, and I have no second main phase action, so I pass to you.
Okay.
Technically, the way that
Poison.
works is the damage is dealt, then the sneak attack is applied to the Shadow Thief. A little bit out of sequence there.
Okay.
So generally speaking, I feel pretty good about this matchup. It is unfortunate that all the status removal that the samurai has can be devoted to dealing with my poisons.
Sure.
Or in that case, Bonsai
Then
shadows. Now, if it was me, I probably would have rolled my attack first, see what I was getting, and then determined if I was going to buy the shadows or not. But the samurai doesn't have a lot of good resource building rolls, so you can be pretty confident that you need the shadows to go.
I'll attempt Solemnity, my second roll, for 7 defendable and a shame.
Sure. I got my shame. I will roll for shadow defense.
Okay.
I will not get shadows, but I will inflict a poison.
I should pull my tray back.
Okay. Then I'll also spend 1 to add Gishi. It's a 3, so 2 more damage, making it 9 total.
I mean, probably the move there actually should have been declare your attack, let me have to choose a defense roll, and then buy the shadows as soon as I try to use it.
Let's go roll phase.
Dang. What's that 5th die?
They're all bags.
Jeez.
They are all bags.
This isn't the worst roll
Just so that
at the start of the game. Like, the Shadow Thief does need to have turns to build up CP. That funds all of his best attacks, including his ultimate. Cardicopia is my favorite ability in the whole game.
What's the upgraded Cardicopia do?
Draw 1 card per card. If Shadows is rolled, the opponent discards 1 randomly, and if a bag is rolled, gain a CP.
Okay.
So, I will present for Cardicopia, unless you got something to say about it.
So I'm gonna have to discard 1 randomly if it goes through.
Yes.
Okay. And if it happens to be a instant card I could play, I am not allowed to play it as it's getting discarded.
Oh, so to specifically answer this question, the idea is a random discard happens. Can I play an instant in response to that? So essentially, the card you're discarding, it still gets to use. Doesn't work that way. As soon as the discard happens, it resolves. You can't respond to it by playing that instant. Which is the way we played it in this game. I did also go double check and make sure that was the correct rule, so we played it right in here.
Just playing it before this activates. If, like, yeah, can I play it now, and then your ability goes off, and then I have to discard one of my other 2?
Yeah, that timing I'm sure works.
Okay, let's just do that. We don't have to do it the other way. So, I'm gonna play.
So the question here is,
get paid.
If you have that, like that getting paid that he has there, and you want to make sure you get that CP, you kind of have to throw it out there. Otherwise, you're risking losing it.
And
this one? Oh, okay.
I got an odd. So that one.
This one?
Yeah.
So that's why I like determining random stuff. Oh, transference. That could have been a big one in this matchup.
2 cards. I'm pretty sure Shame does not go anywhere because I didn't do an attack.
Correct.
Yeah, Shame is one of those that does not go away at the end of roll phase unless you actually do damage that it's reduced by.
Okay. Poison. Okay.
I think at this point the samurai's taking 5 damage off poison, which isn't a massive number, but it can certainly be a decisive one.
I will attempt my small second roll.
Okay. I asked our question on the Discord. We'll see if we get an answer.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully it doesn't come up again, but it might.
So I will gain an honor and do 6 damage if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that'll go through.
Okay, so I'll spend both honors before I gain the new one.
Okay.
That is
and
smart
then
play.
Do 9.
9 coming at me. Alright, I will roll for shadow defense. I'll hit it
Jeez.
and take nothing.
Unfortunately, sneak attack is
And I
wasted.
won't gain a sneak attack because I already have one, so it fizzles.
Okay.
Frustrating when that happens.
Spend 1 to gain backstrike.
Sure.
And I'll end my turn and gain an honor.
I feel like that card should have been an instant. Maybe that would have made it too strong, but sure seems like it would create some fun gameplay moments. Like, oh, I got you, man. But I gained a backstrike and took you down with me.
I'm going to sell, try again. But I'm not going to count the CP because I'm going to immediately spend it on double up to draw 2 cards.
This is what Shadow Thief does. You got to build that hand. You can hear me thinking out loud. So the issue here is I don't have that much CP. And I really need to use sneak attack this turn. I got to get that off of me so I can gain another one.
Bags coming my way today. I guess I'll keep 2, 4, 5. Well, do I want to? Ugh.
That's tough. I don't like the idea of...
And it's defendable, so I'll get hit back. It's going to be small damage.
I mean, it does generate
I'm gonna
CP.
Keep the 2 and throw everything else back.
Oh, geez. Going for Poison Strike or whatever.
Keep all these daggers.
Dagger Strike.
And I'll throw back the 4. I will present...
That's pretty good.
For a 4 dagger strike, unless you want to do something about it.
So it's unfortunate the Shame's going to have an effect here.
Daggers are going to be 6 damage. I gain a CP automatically. Because I have a Shadows, I'm going to inflict another poison on you, which will max out that stack.
That's what Shadow Thief likes.
So then at 6, I'm going to pop my sneak attack and add 6 to it.
Oh.
So that's going to be a total of 12 incoming damage, which will get reduced by 1 by your Shame. So that'll become 11.
Okay.
Sneak attack is a ridiculous status effect.
I'll take 9.
So block 2, deal 2 is still pretty good,
and
though.
And then I will spend backstrike.
And if you count the Shame on that as well, that essentially is like blocking
6,
3.
So 3.
And dealing 5. So I attacked for 12. I took 5 and dealt 9. That's not unfavorable to do on your defense side.
Like sell Insidious Strike upgrade.
That's actually one I like to play when I can.
And I'm gonna sell Poison Wound.
How many cards?
I'm sorry.
How many cards do you have in your hand?
I have 3 left.
Okay.
And then at the end of my turn, Shadows clears because I started my turn in the Shadows, and I pass to you.
Okay. Take 3 damage.
I think that's 8 total from poisons so far.
This is a much better hand tracker.
Yeah, I really like
Pay
that
2,
D20 I got, but it's not the
upgrade my
best
small
hand
straight.
trigger.
And roll.
Small straight upgrade is pretty good for the samurai. Chasing large straights is a little bit more difficult for him, given the incentives to try to stack honor. He's got to be hoping for what status effects. Get a turn where you can spend all the honor. What status and then what status effects off all the poisons.
I'll attempt a 7 damage katana slice.
He's already used his
7
bye.
damage katana slice. It shall be.
I made him throw his transference. Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of status effect interaction left.
My defense.
Can't inflict the poison. I mean, if I have the dice manipulation here, there's a strong argument for using it.
Alright, so off my defense roll, I'll inflict a poison, but that does nothing because you're at max stack. I'll gain a backstrike.
So that's a strong signal to my opponent that I don't have dice fix cards in my hand.
Yes. So then, if you're doing that, I'll spend these and make it 10.
Okay.
Or I'm baiting my opponent to spend his
then
honor.
I'll spend Enter the Shadows to enter the shadows.
Okay.
That still confirms the theory that there's no
end
dice
my
fixing
turn,
cards in my hands.
Gain an honor.
Gain a CP. Draw a card. I'm going to sell Counter-Strike.
Only in Dice Turn Adventures would I ever play that card.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unfortunately, I have such little CP right now. That's not very scary, is it?
Still,
you gain 3 from that.
It's hard to walk away
'cause
from
I don't have the upgrade.
a nat large
Right.
straight.
Yeah, I'm going to present for the large straight.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I'll gain 3 CP. So we have 6 incoming, and I'll pop my back strike
That's not backstrike, that's sneak attack.
to add 1. Ugh. So 7 incoming total.
Okay. Defense. Block 3, deal 1 back. So I'm taking 4.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the kind of places where the defensive powers between the two characters start to look kind of stark. Admittedly, I used an Enter the Shadows last turn to avoid the damage from the samurai, but the Shadow Thief can roll that on his defensive roll, and that absorbs 10 incoming damage, whereas the samurai is consistently absorbing 2, 3 incoming damage, but it just, over the course of the game, blocking a small percentage of every hit doesn't often, in my experience or in my opinion, end up offsetting blocking huge chunks at a time the way the Shadow Thief does.
Sell 1 more time.
Sure.
Overall, I think this matchup, assuming a player who's competent at playing the Shadow Thief and a player who's competent at playing Samurai, I think the matchup favors the Shadow Thief somewhat.
Keeping the 6s.
I hear this guy say keep and
Jeez.
6s, throwing all these ultimates at my face.
Is that 2, 5, 5, 6, 6 after 3?
Yeah, I'm gonna spend 3. Do twice as wild.
Sure.
An attempt. Hagakure.
Sure.
You're good with that?
Yes.
Okay. I'll gain an honor. Gain backstrike.
To be fair, I'm
2
probably not
shame,
good
and
with
then
it.
5 undefendable.
But this sends a consistent message that there is not dice manipulation
Yeah,
cards
and I'll spend these to make it
in
8.
hand. Because this would be another prime opportunity where if you had them, you would probably
Okay.
play it.
That is my turn.
Alright, I'll gain CP. Draw a card.
2 shame, all that on. Like, that's a lot of status effects to be thrown around. Like, once you tally up what each of those is worth, that's a huge attack. Well, not just in numbers, but...
CP, so play Transference and steal your backstrike.
Okay.
Go into roll phase.
As if the Shadow Thief needed more ways to discourage a person from attacking.
I'm going to keep the daggers. Throw the rest back.
Yeah, with an opponent with max sex poison, chasing Dagger Strike does not feel good.
Throw the rest back. I will present... a 4-dagger Dagger Strike.
Okay.
So I'll gain a CP. And there will be 6 damage coming your way.
Okay. Defense.
Now the Samurai's in a
Block
position
1,
here.
deal 2 back.
Okay, so he didn't have the best defensive roll, but 6 incoming damage.
Oh, and Shame takes 2 off of it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
plus the shame.
5 down
Oh,
to 3.
jeez. Very anemic attack from Shadow Thief this turn.
Yeah. You got a 50% reduction on my attack that turn. That feels pretty terrible. Alright.
The shame.
I pass to you.
I mean, the only way to deal with the
Alright.
shame is
50%
through. Like, you just
reduction.
have to deal with it. It's
Sorry,
generally
what?
Oh, 'cause
not an impactful enough effect
Oh, yeah.
that you want to commit some kind of status removal to it. Like, are you going to buy a shame? Ugh, that would feel terrible. So typically you just have to accept the fact that it's going to impact your attacks.
To gain 2 honor.
Sure.
And roll.
Strong honor economy coming from the Samurai in this game.
Jeez.
Going through a lot of it.
Going for it.
The dude with all the 6s.
Yeah, I know. Ugh. That's bad.
I mean, given the number of signals that have been sent at this point about the state of my hand, there have been a few prime places where
And you
dice
got 1 card.
manipulation could have been relevant.
Okay.
I've only got 2 cards in hand. I certainly have enough CP to play anything in the game.
I'm gonna
but
reroll these. Sorry, like glare.
Samurai's gotta feel like,
That's better.
okay, if there was ever a time to push, here it is.
Sure.
Okay. Going for a Wakizashi. It will be 4 undefendable.
And, yeah, hang on. So you've got no CP,
Correct.
and you've got 3 katanas and 2 6s that you're showing me.
So this is the danger. When you commit all 3 of your rerolls with no CP and your opponent starts counting stuff up,
That leaves you with
Nothing.
nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna play twice as wild, and I'm gonna turn one of the 6s into a 4, and I guess the 2 into a 4.
and
Okay.
he's got no CP. So I feel pretty confident at this moment
so I
that
still
I just
gotta roll a
broke
third
his
roll.
turn.
Do you? I thought you pulled the 6s on the first one, then rolled a 4 and a 2, and then threw one of the 6s. back
Oh,
on the
yeah.
other one.
You're right.
Okay.
Yep, my bad. So that is a whiff. Your turn.
Tense moment. Now that is the kind of place where I really like using my dice fixing cards, is catching my opponent when I have the ability to just snap their turn in half. Yes, chasing ultimates is very good too. I can't deny the power in that. But but especially with Shadow Thief, whose ultimate's fairly
I'm going to
weak
Sell the shifty strike
until you get into the end game form.
Roll face.
Yeah, this isn't great here because the daggers don't generate a whole lot of attack damage on their own, and he's already at max out poison. Chasing sixes doesn't feel very strong. We know I don't have twice as wild. This doesn't feel like a good...
I'm going to keep 1, 2, 2, 5, and I'm going to throw back the 6. I'm going to throw back that 4. Alright. I will present for a dagger strike.
Okay, go ahead.
It is only 4 damage. I will gain a CP, and I will draw a card.
I think the idea there
Do you
was...
just gain the CP like no matter what? On the
With the
upgrade?
upgrade, yes.
Oh, okay.
On the level 1, you have to hit a bag.
Just, I gotta draw
Okay.
some cards here. Maybe there's an argument for chasing
sorry.
Cardicopia, especially given how strong the
It's only 2
Samurai's
daggers,
defense
yeah, so
is.
it's only 4
Okay.
incoming.
Alright, defense. 3 prevented. I'll take 1.
Sure.
I guess when you combine that with the 3 damage the poison is doing each turn,
I will...
it's not like I actually had a 1 damage turn. I'm going to have a 4 damage turn, which still isn't good, I concede.
Take 3.
But it's less punishing, and I generated a card.
I will roll.
Look at all those katanas.
I will go for a 7 damage katana strike.
Yeah.
Sure. That sounds
Slice.
good.
Consistent thing to roll with a character that only wants to use 2 rolls basically all the
I will
time.
Roll my defense. Inflicting poison does nothing, and the bags do nothing.
Okay. Then I will make it 10 with
Okay.
these.
I'll pop backstrike
10 doesn't feel good.
to send 1 back at you. I'll take 10.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll end my
backstrike.
turn, gain an honor.
So this is the part of the game where the Shadow Thief starts to get really dangerous.
Go straight into roll phase.
Got a decent number of cards that have moved through my hand.
Ugh.
I got a good stack of CP going.
I guess I'll keep the 6s. Throw the other 3 back. I will present on 2 rolls for Shadow Dance.
Go ahead.
Alright. So I'll roll 1 die.
Do your pure damage.
Deal 1 pure damage. I mean, I did have 1 backstrike where I hit a 6, so I can't like be too upset about all
I
the
didn't.
ones,
I had a
but
sneak
still.
attack.
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm very
Then I'll
confused
use my
about the name of
backstrike
that power.
shadows after you take your 1. Second main phase. I have no actions. Go ahead.
Okay. 3 damage.
So I feel comfortable here. I'm hiding in the shadows. I know he doesn't have transference. I know he doesn't have bye-bye. What status effects could be annoying, but it's almost for sure going to point it at his own face to deal with those poisons. At this point, man, are we up to 17 damage from the poison? Maybe only 14. A lot of poison damage.
So, can I still do status effects to
Yep.
you?
Yep. All
Okay.
shadow stops is damage. So if you you roll like an ORP thing that lets you gain positive status effects, like I don't know the Samurai board, you might not have those, but if you inflict
Samurai
damage
doesn't
with
have a lot of
shield on
passive
you or
rolls.
whatever else, it just stops the
Okay.
damage.
That transference would have been brutal right here, though.
Are you at 8 or 6?
I am at 8.
Okay.
So
Alright.
Samurai
so
definitely
I'll just
could
roll.
generate an attack that's big enough to kill me here, but that's not good enough. He's
Oh.
got to generate the attack, and he's got to strip me out of the shadows.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's going to go another turn, and he's very much within striking distance
Nothing yet.
for me. Now, you never really know, though,
Sorry, did you
because
ask
when
me
you're
a question?
No, I just said nothing yet.
Oh,
when you're relying on the shadows,
Um,
you're very fragile to a variety of different kinds of cards that can mess with you. Now, at this point, we know my opponent has gone through most of them, and he's mid-roll phase, so there's no blue cards that can come into play here.
Oh my gosh.
Now, the pressure's got to be on, because you're thinking, like, what's the way I can maximize? At the very least, can I get, like, a backstrike? Could I inflict some shame? Like, what are the ways to try to, if not,
Okay. I'll attempt.
if I
a
can't kill
small
my opponent
straight.
this turn, what can I do to make life
Okay.
really hard on them next turn?
So, just gaining an honor,
alright.
I guess. And then that'll be my turn.
Unfortunately, an honor, unless he can survive this turn, that honor is meaningless.
I'm gonna sell Shadow Dance upgrade
Yeah.
for a CP, and then I'm gonna go into roll phase. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna present a roll 1 Insidious Strike.
Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty dead here.
Yeah.
So I'll just go defense. Alright, so yeah, how much was it again?
So that'll be 12 damage, just based off CP.
Plus the sneak attack.
Block 1, deal 2 back, and I'm dead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna pop sneak attack, but I guess
Yeah, you can do that too. How much would it be?
I mean, it doesn't really matter.
sneak attack would have added 5.
Nice. Dang.
That's a big hit.
Okay, so overall, looking back at that game, I think I was a little over-reliant on trying to go for Dagger Strike. Obviously, once you get that upgraded, I mean, it's a free upgrade, so it's whatever. But it's nice to try to chase that. The poisons did a ton of work. The fact that Bonsai was never able to hit what status effects and clear those off him at any point throughout the game absolutely had an impact on the end. Like, that was a tight game there at the end. What, 8-6 there at the finish, or 8-8? It was very close. The well-timed shadows when I needed them to avoid those big hits. I feel like overall the game went pretty well. Probably could have tightened up a few, like across like maybe turn 3 or 4. I feel like there was those 2 Dagger Strike turns in a row, and there was one in particular where I feel like I could have tried to chase a Cardicopia instead of just taking the one passive draw and doing really small potatoes damage against the Samurai, who then that gives him an opportunity to do small potatoes damage back to the Shadow Thief, which doesn't feel very good. Now, that said, the Shadow Thief has a really powerful way to avoid damage on his defense, but if you don't hit those 6s, you're going to lose that race if you do that too many times. So overall, good games to my opponent. This was another series in the Dice Throne World Cup, and until next time, go win some games.